Hey guys, we're back.
Hey there.
So, I had a dream on Christmas Eve that I want to share with you guys. And there's a few scriptures I want to discuss with it. So I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible because it's kind of a long dream. So, I'm just going to jump right in. So, in this dream, I was at some kind of family gathering, and there was, it was like as if it was the holidays or something, except I don't know if it was a specific holiday. There was no Christmas tree. There was no anything like that. So, but it was like, you know, cousins and uncles and aunts all together in one place. And the only time that would happen is basically holidays. So, I don't know if it was a holiday. It just kind of seemed like it. So, I'm going to try to say this without saying names because, you know, I don't know if my family is going to listen to this. So I don't want to, like, call anyone out in this video. Okay, so there was tons of people in this dream, and there was only 2 people in my family, and they were both uncles that I recognized, but I knew who the other people were. I just didn't have specific faces and names. But there was a lot of people. I want to say like 60 people in this house, and my family's pretty big. Lots of cousins, but there was a lot of people. And I know which families they belonged to. I just don't know, like, I wasn't, like, zoned into anybody specific except for 2 uncles. So, in this dream, I was sitting down at a table in one scene. There's multiple scenes in this, but at the start of it, I was just sitting at a table, and I just felt awkward. I felt like I did not fit in with my family, which is very true.
In real life. Yeah.
In real life, I really don't fit in with my family. Nobody understands what I'm going through for the most part. I'm doing this all alone with my husband. So I felt alone, and I felt like nobody understood me, and it just felt awkward. And that's the feeling I had at that moment. So I saw in this dream one of my uncles who I've had dreams about in the past, and I've put those dreams on this channel. It was actually one of my old dreams about Sukkot and the lemons. Anyway, it was one of the uncles in that dream. But he was in this one, and he kept disappearing, and I kept thinking to myself while I'm sitting there all awkward, like I don't fit in with my family, where's my uncle going? He kept disappearing. I just noticed him. I do know why I'm noticing him. But he kept disappearing, and I thought he was going into this other room with my other family, like cousins, in general, just cousins, nobody specific. But so I noticed him disappearing, like coming in and out, and I'm just going to say this now. I think it's representing him coming to Jesus, going back into the world, coming to Jesus, going back into the world. He's lukewarm is what I'm gathering. So anyway, he keeps disappearing. And so I go and I look to see what all my family's doing. And I'm standing in a doorway, and I'm looking in, and I'm just observing. They don't even notice I'm there. And there's just alcohol everywhere, all over the counters, open bottles of Cokes and Pops and alcohol, and half drunken, and they were having a party, and they were all drunk and dancing and laughing and just having a great grand time. So I don't know that my uncle necessarily went in that room. I just feel like he did. I didn't see anybody specific. I just knew my family was living it up at that moment, and that's why I wasn't fitting in with them. After that scene, there was another scene where I was just sitting down, and I was on the computer playing music, and there was a little girl next to me, and I don't know if I guess she was part of my family, but I don't know who she was technically. I think I was just being shown something about children currently in this world. But she was about 8 years old, and I was playing music, and she was just dancing, and I was just smiling, and I just was observing her, and I started to notice that she was about to twerk, and that sounds really bad. Like, I don't even like using that word, but
right.
She was about to, like, you know, y'all know what twerking is.
Right.
Yeah. So sadly. She was, right, sadly. she was just about to be inappropriate. Like, this little 8-year-old girl shouldn't know what twerking is, and she shouldn't be shaking her rear like that, and you know, she just shouldn't know these things, and it was just inappropriate for a little 8-year-old girl to do that. And I just observed her, and I was like, why is she doing that? Like, she's starting to be inappropriate.
Right.
And so that was the end of that scene, and I just noticed that. And I just think I'm being shown, you know, sexualized society and perversion.
Perversion's going on a lot.
So this last scene was a bunch of families sitting at a dinner table. But what was weird about it was my mom and I were, like, facing the wall. And the rest of my family was facing the other direction, like the table.
Y'all are turned around?
Yeah, we were, like, turned around, not facing the table. They were sitting, like, at the table, like, as if they were going to eat or something. There's no food or anything, but they were facing another direction. So that was weird. The only thing I can think of is my mother and I representing, you know, following Christ.
Yeah.
They're following the world kind of thing.
That would make sense.
That's the only thing I can think of. But anyway, so we're sitting, like, my mom is to my right. There's me, and we're facing this way. Then to my left is, like, 3 people, but I don't know who they are. I just know it's my family. And then, like, the 4th person is another uncle that I have. And it wasn't the same uncle from earlier that kept, like, disappearing from me and going into the other room. This is a different uncle. I'm sitting there, and my mom's just talking to me, and I can't remember the exact words that we were saying back and forth, like, word for word. So my mom was telling me that my uncle, that was like 4 people down, is now a believer. And in real life, he's an atheist. So I was shocked in this dream. And I turned to him and I mouth it to him, just like, so it's not vocal, like where our family can hear. And I'm like, do you believe in Jesus? Like, I was asking him, do you believe in Jesus? And he looks at me and he smiles and he kind of laughs like, haha, yeah, but don't tell anyone. He didn't want anybody to know. He was ashamed of Jesus and ashamed of the truth. I kind of got the feeling like he was a brand new believer and he cared more about what people thought about him than what Jesus thought. He was worried about pleasing the world and not his creator.
Yeah,
worldly still. So this last part, I'm a little iffy with sharing, and like this is kind of why I haven't shared this dream yet, because again, you guys, I don't want to start an argument about flat earth or round earth. It's not a salvation issue, and I don't care if the earth is flat or round, honestly, but God like keeps showing me stuff, so I feel like he either just wants me to share it. I don't know. I'm just going to share this last part of the dream. So after I asked my uncle if he was a believer, I turned to my mom and she was saying something about Job, and I can't remember specifically what she said, but she was talking about the prophet Job. And in response to her talking about Job, I was like, it's like, this had nothing to do with Job, but I said to her, I showed her my hand, and there was like a little, I don't know how to describe this, there was like a little round piece in my hand about, you know, an inch thick or whatever.
And like this?
Oh, okay. I was like, you're really going to eat chocolate right now? Like, can't you wait like 5 minutes?
No, I'm trying to give an example. That seems like what you're describing.
Yeah, so it was like this size, you know, and it was like a dome shaped, and it was flat on the bottom like my hand. And I said to my mom, I don't know what was in my hand, but it was something like that shape. And I said something to her about the earth being dome shaped, and it was associated with Job or something. I was like, oh yeah, like the earth is a dome shape. And I was like, look. So I don't know if God was trying to say there's something in Job about the flat earth or round earth or what not. I'm still trying to figure that out. But after I said that to my mom, I turned to my uncle and the family that was around him. And I was speaking to all of them, just whoever wanted to answer. And I said, do you guys believe in the dome? And someone said, I don't know who it was. Someone said, no, round earth. And we laughed it off like, ha, 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 you know, small talk, you know, when you're at a table, just talking with family. And somebody else, I don't know who it was, said, what are you guys talking about? And I said, oh, it's just conspiracies. And that was the end of the dream. So, you know, again, I'm not sure what God's trying to say with that last scene, if, you know, flat earth is just some conspiracies or what, but it's like I believed in the dream that the earth was flat and had a dome or something, and that it was associated with Job somehow. I don't really know what he's trying to say there, guys. So,
interesting that you were led to Job again.
Yeah. So again, guys, I don't want to start any like arguments about flat earth or round earth or anything like that. So please just be kind with your comments, and your opinions. Because ultimately it's not a salvation issue. What you believe, it's just opinions, and we're trying to understand the scriptures, all of us.
Right.
And we all want the truth. We all want the truth. Like, that's no lie. We all want the truth. So, let's just be kind with how we respond when we're talking about stuff like this. Because I don't want to start arguments, and that's why it's hard for me to share this. But I feel like if I took that out, then I'm not being totally honest, because that wasn't my entire dream. So I need to be honest with you guys. Like, that's what I was told in the dream, and I just don't have a full interpretation of that part of the dream yet. But I do have some scriptures I want to share with the rest of the dream that I immediately thought of. So let's flip to those real quick. John 15:19.
And we can do 18 through 19.
Okay.
If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love his own. But because you're not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you.
Right, and that's how I felt in the dream at the beginning with my family. I just felt like I didn't fit in. Nobody liked me. It was just awkward, and Jesus said that's how it's going to be. We're just not going to fit in with our families anymore once we choose Christ.
Yeah, sure, that separation.
Yeah, there's a separation going on.
Yeah, it's happened in mine too.
And then the other part about all the alcohol, we're told that this is a sign of Jesus' return. Matthew 24:38. Or
and I'm gonna read 37 through 39, just kind of a couple extra pieces. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were drinking and eating, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came, and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So we're just being shown, like, I'm just being shown that my family is worldly, they're of the world, they don't see the tribulation coming. We're loading and boarding that ark, and it's going to hit, the rains are going to hit them, the tribulation is going to hit them by surprise. That's just a sign of the hour we're in, and a sign of Christ's return.
Right. And then next one over you had looked up was Matthew 18, and then that's 3 through 7.
Yeah, so the verses that stuck out with me for that little girl that was inappropriate when I was playing the music, and she was wanting to dance inappropriately. I thought of Matthew 18, starting at verse 3, and said, verily, Jesus is saying this, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. So become innocent, not perverted. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come, but woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. So woe to men who create stumbling blocks and cause little children to sin. That's what the Greek is saying with offenses.
Right.
Woe to this world for perverting our innocent children.
That's what's going on right now.
That's a sign of the times.
Oh yeah, big time.
So I think I'm just being shown that the world is, perverted, and that is a sign of the soon coming return of Christ also, that the perversion will increase. And there was one other scripture.
Luke 9:26.
Go ahead.
Says, "For whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words, of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he shall come in his own glory and in his Father's and of the holy angels."
Right, and that's the scripture I thought of when I thought
Your uncle.
my uncle, who, when I asked him if he was a believer, he was like, "Shh, yeah," but he didn't want anybody to hear at the table. He was ashamed of Jesus. So Jesus is saying, you can't be ashamed of me. You've got to stand bold and declare the truth, and you're not going to fit in with your family.
Right.
It's going to be awkward, and that's just how it's going to be. And you either choose, the love of the world and your family, or you choose the love of God.
Right.
So you got to pick one side or the other. You can't sit on the fence. You got to choose.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be difficult because that is your family, and it's because I'm going through the same thing with mine as well. Because of us being strong in our faith and being born again, we're outcasts, and so we've lost family, we've lost friends. And so, we've shared as much as we can to them.
Right, and we want to talk about things that they don't want to talk about.
Right, and it's just the difference of being in the world and not being of the world. And so...
Right. So, and especially with, holidays. The holidays have been hard for us, so I know it's been hard for everybody else, because you're with family, and it's like you have to, go into the world a little bit, and then... You're like, oh, it's just hard.
You can just feel it.
Yeah, you can feel the negative energy, and
yeah.
And it's just nice to come back to your Jesus bubble.
Right. We love our Jesus bubble.
Right. So, anyways, yeah, you guys, I just think I'm being shown, what hour we're living in, and Jesus is coming soon, and hopefully some of these scriptures were helpful to some of you guys that are dealing with family that are betraying you also. It doesn't get easier. It's just you have to learn to accept the fact that you can't change them.
Right.
That's what I've learned.
And never underestimate the power of planting the seed.
Right.
Because,
exactly.
We have done that. So
right, and that's true. I didn't even think of that, because I've been told in other dreams that family members are believers, and here I am again being shown that an atheist now believes.
Right.
He might not be where he needs to be, where he's declaring Jesus in front of family and he's not ashamed of Jesus, but I'm being shown he's a believer.
Exactly.
So our family, whether or not they figure it out before the rapture, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're probably going to have to go through tribulation to figure it out. But don't underestimate, like you said, the power of planting a seed or praying, either or.
Oh, yeah.
You can speak to them, but, my family no longer speaks to me. The one that I'm actually talking about in this dream, he refuses to speak to me now. So, it is what it is. So, I can't talk to him anymore, because he's cut ties with me. But I can pray for him. Right. So, I think it's important that we do pray for them.
Never give up. Never give up hope on someone,
Right. God was patient with us.
Exactly. And, he's
working on them.
Yeah, he is.
He worked on us. God was patient with us. We need to be patient with them.
Right.
There is hope. If there was hope for all of us, there's hope for them.
Yeah, exactly. So, keep speaking, because if you're going through the same situation, plant that seed and it will grow. It will grow at some point. And as many times as we wish we had Miracle Grow and we can just splash it on everybody, it's not for us. It's for God's timing. God does it, and they also have to let it start sprouting. So,
right.
Anyway, that's what we wanted to leave with you guys for now. Is there anything else?
No. We're probably going to be back with some more.
A couple more coming, guys.
Okay, bye, guys.
Love y'all.